The hairs on your neck rise. No sound, no movement, nothing you can point to. But your body is already certain. Someone is watching you. You spin around, nothing there. And yet the feeling does not leave. Your heart is still elevated. Your skin still reads the room. That is not paranoia. That is your brain running ancient code. Code written long before language, long before reason. And here's what nobody tells you. That feeling might not be wrong. I'm Tim. I find the science behind what your brain is actually doing, not the simplified version, and what your brain does when it feels watched. That is one of the most sophisticated systems your brain has. Today we go deep. We trace the exact circuit. We name the researchers who found it, and by the end, you will never dismiss that feeling again. Your brain has a system built for one purpose: detecting eyes, not faces, not bodies, just eyes. Specifically, eyes pointed at you. Neuroscientist Colin Clifford at the University of Sydney ran a series of studies that revealed something extraordinary. Your visual cortex responds differently to a gaze aimed directly at you versus a gaze aimed 1 degree away. 1 degree. That is not a conscious calculation. Your brain does that before you are even aware you saw a face. This is called gaze detection, and it fires even in low light, even in your peripheral vision, even when the face is partially hidden. Your brain is running threat surveillance every single second you are awake. But here's what makes this strange. That same system activates even when no one is actually there, because evolution did not build an off switch. Think about what that means. The psychology of feeling watched is not a flaw. It is a feature that kept your ancestors alive long enough to become you. So where exactly does this happen? Deep inside your brain sits the superior temporal sulcus. Neuroscientists call it the STS. It processes one specific input, the direction of another person's gaze. Brain scans show your STS activates when someone looks directly at you. But here's the part most people miss. Your STS also fires when you only believe someone might be looking at you. Your brain reacts almost the same whether someone is actually looking at you, or you just think they are. Your nervous system cannot always tell the difference between being watched and feeling watched. That is not anxiety. That is your brain choosing survival over certainty. Researcher Aine Kelly at University College London found that direct gaze activates a threat response cascade through your amygdala within 200 milliseconds. 200 milliseconds. Before you consciously register the face, which means your brain reacts before you even know why. Before you form a thought, your amygdala has already logged the threat, already begun preparing your body. This is why you feel it before you see it. The feeling is not in your imagination. The feeling is in your biology. And it gets stranger, because your brain is not just detecting real eyes, it is predicting them. Neuroscientist Isabelle Peretz and research into predictive threat modeling shows your brain is constantly running forward simulations, asking, where might danger appear? Where might eyes be pointed at me? When you walk into a dark room, your brain activates the same circuits as if eyes are already on you. It preloads the feeling so you are ready before the threat arrives. This is called hypervigilance. And if you have ever felt hyper-aware of being perceived, constantly aware of your own presence in a room full of people, that is this system running too hot, living in survival mode brain. This is what that actually looks like at the neurological level. Now here's the part that reframes everything. That feeling of being watched, that sixth sense of surveillance, is not evenly distributed. Your brain generates it more intensely under specific conditions, and most people never know what those conditions are. The first condition is low social control. When you feel powerless in a situation, a job interview, a first date, a room where status is unclear, your threat detection system amplifies the gaze sensitivity signal. Research from Harvard's psychology department on social hierarchy and threat perception shows that lower perceived status directly correlates with higher activation of your brain's surveillance circuits. You feel more watched when you feel less powerful, not because more people are watching, because your brain decides the cost of missing a threat is too high to risk. The second condition is familiarity deprivation. When you are in an unfamiliar environment, new city, new job, new social group, your brain has no baseline threat map. It cannot predict where danger comes from, so it defaults to maximum sensitivity. Everything feels like eyes. Every corner feels occupied. This is why the psychology of feeling watched spikes sharply after major life transitions. It is not your mental state deteriorating. It is your brain recalibrating its threat model from scratch. And the third condition is the one nobody talks about: main character syndrome. and I mean the psychological version, occurs when your default mode network is overactivated. The default mode network is your brain's background processing system. It runs during rest, during social rumination, during self-referential thought. When it overactivates, which happens under chronic stress or sleep deprivation, your brain starts placing you at the center of everyone's attention more frequently than reality warrants. You walk into a room. Your DMN says they noticed you. They are watching. They are evaluating. You feel watched because your own brain is writing you into every scene as the one being perceived. So what do you do with all of this? First, you name the circuit. When the feeling of being watched rises, say to yourself STS activation, amygdala threat signal. Predictive surveillance running. Naming the mechanism engages your prefrontal cortex, and your prefrontal cortex is the circuit that can evaluate the signal rather than just obey it. You are not switching off the alarm. You are adding a second voice that can ask, is this signal accurate or is this signal precautionary? Second, you audit the conditions. Am I in a low control situation? Am I in an unfamiliar environment? Am I sleep deprived? Is my default mode network running without a check? Because what happens in your brain when you feel watched is not random. It is patterned, and patterns can be read. The feeling of eyes on you is ancient, elegant, deeply intelligent. Your brain is not broken. Your brain is doing exactly what a brain built for survival does. It watches for the watchers, every second without rest. That system kept your bloodline alive for 200,000 years. The least you can do is understand it. Your brain is running science most people never study. If you want to understand what your brain is doing to you every day, this channel exists for exactly that.